Have you ever taken a moment to reflect on the consequences of ceasing your pursuit of a woman? Today, we will delve into a thought-provoking question that many of you may have pondered, whether you are currently experiencing this situation or have encountered it in the past. We will examine the fascinating dynamics of silence. What truly occurs when you choose to withdraw and cease communication with a woman? More importantly, how can you, as a man, leverage this situation to restore your dignity and self-assurance? In this video, we will explore the common responses women may exhibit when the pursuit concludes and how their emotions and actions may evolve. However, there's an interesting angle. We will incorporate the enduring principles of Stoicism to navigate these experiences. Stoicism imparts lessons on resilience, emotional regulation, and the importance of taking a step back to evaluate our lives from a wider viewpoint. By embracing these principles, you can discover how to remain calm and confident, even in the face of uncertainty or silence from a loved one. Join us as we analyze these personal experiences and offer strategies to not only manage, but also flourish, ultimately enhancing your sense of self-worth through the lens of Stoic philosophy. Should this conversation pique your interest or reflect your current circumstances, feel free to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more insightful content, and click the bell icon to stay updated. Now, let's dive in. First, we have the initial shock and confusion. When you cease communication with a woman, one of the first reactions you may observe is her initial shock or confusion. This response is entirely normal. The dialogue that was once regular or even frequent has abruptly stopped. She might begin to contemplate what went wrong, why you have become silent, and reflect on her own behavior or her role in your life. This creates a moment of uncertainty for her. This can evoke a range of emotions, from curiosity to frustration. However, Stoicism provides valuable insight in this situation. A fundamental principle of Stoicism is to concentrate solely on what is within our control, namely, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. It's important to recognize that her confusion or shock is not something you can or should attempt to resolve. You cannot influence her feelings or thoughts. When you cease communication, it aligns with Stoic principles that expending energy to influence another person's emotional reactions is ultimately pointless. Your attention should be directed towards what is within your control, preserving your emotional stability, maintaining your calm, and contemplating your own actions. For instance, if you have been the one to start discussions, send texts, or arrange meetings. As time passes, you may begin to sense an imbalance in the relationship. Perhaps it feels as though you are the one pursuing her or investing more effort than you are getting in return. Consequently, you choose to take a step back and cease your initiations. This shift may leave her questioning, "Why has he stopped communicating with me?" This is when the uncertainty arises. Instead of quickly stepping in to clarify or address her emotions, you choose to accept the quiet. This is a significant moment, not only for her, but also for you. When used purposefully, silence can become one of your most valuable tools. By taking a step back, you allow her the opportunity to contemplate her feelings while also giving yourself a chance to find your balance. Stoicism reminds us that silence is not merely an absence of sound. It is a chance for self-reflection and understanding. In this moment of stillness, you can examine your own emotions and release any desire for approval or affirmation. You remain resolute, not out of apathy, but from an understanding that her reactions are beyond your control. Her emotions and thoughts belong solely to her. Often, when a man ceases to pursue or communicate with a woman, it provides her the opportunity to contemplate the nature of their relationship. If she genuinely cherishes the bond, your withdrawal may encourage her to reconsider her own contributions and behavior. More importantly, this moment allows you to assess whether this pursuit aligns with your personal values and self-worth. As the Stoics taught, your inner tranquility should not be influenced by external factors, such as the attention you receive from others. You maintain authority over your emotions, regardless of whether others comprehend or respond as you would like. The advantage of this mindset is that it allows you to remain authentic to yourself. By refraining from pursuing or reacting hastily, you express self-respect and emotional autonomy. You are showing that your tranquility is not dependent on her response. This establishes a strong internal foundation that keeps you resilient against outside influences. You have the power to govern your emotional well-being, irrespective of the distractions in your environment. Having examined how the initial shock and confusion can develop, let us pause to consider the fundamental Stoic principle involved: control. It emphasizes the realization that the only individual you can genuinely oversee is yourself. The transition from seeking external validation to prioritizing inner peace is what gives this approach its strength. By maintaining your own sense of tranquility, you not only enhance your immediate feelings, but also influence the overall nature of your interactions. If this message resonates with you, please share your thoughts in the comments or simply write, "I choose inner peace," below. Your engagement fosters ongoing dialogue, and I would appreciate hearing your viewpoint before we explore the next insight. 2. Contemplation of the relationship. When you cease communication or pursuing a woman, she may feel bewildered or taken aback, as individuals often respond to abrupt changes in established dynamics. She might begin to revisit past events, discussions, and interactions in an effort to comprehend the reason behind this alteration. This phase is characterized by her introspection, as she contemplates what may have gone awry, examines her involvement in the circumstances, and ponders whether her actions contributed to the sudden quietness. Here's an important insight from a Stoic viewpoint. As she contemplates the relationship, it's an ideal opportunity for you to engage in self-reflection, not on her thoughts or reactions, but on your own. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of concentrating on what lies within our control, which includes your thoughts, actions, and responses. Take a moment to step back and evaluate the relationship from your own perspective. Did you uphold your values while you were together? Were your actions genuine, or were they driven by a desire to pursue, please, or gain her approval? A Stoic perspective emphasizes that your value is not determined by how others perceive you, but rather by your dedication to adhering to your own principles. If you find yourself persistently seeking her attention or neglecting your own needs, it may be time to reflect on the reasons behind this behavior. Are you motivated by a fear of solitude? Do you believe that her approval equates to your self-worth? Consider the scenario where you are frequently messaging her, always taking the initiative to make plans, and continuously vying for her attention. When you take a step back and cease this behavior, she will probably take notice. Instead of anticipating her response or fretting over whether she will return, focus on self-reflection during this period. Have you neglected your own identity in your quest for her attention? Did you sacrifice your personal boundaries or values to keep the relationship intact? If the answer is yes, this moment presents a chance for you to realign yourself. Self-reflection in Stoicism involves recognizing instances where you may have deviated from your authentic self and determining how to learn and evolve from those experiences. You might come to understand that you place too much emphasis on seeking her approval at the expense of your own self-respect. Alternatively, you may realize that you compromised too much of your identity simply to sustain the relationship. This process is not about feeling regret or assigning blame to yourself. Rather, it is an opportunity to cultivate a stronger and more resilient version of who you are. Concentrate on your personal development rather than fixating on her thoughts or reactions. True strength comes from the capacity to learn from every experience and to come out stronger. While a woman might contemplate the relationship and reassess her emotions or behaviors, that aspect is beyond your influence. What you can control is your response during this period of silence. Will you leverage this experience for personal growth? Will it help you align more closely with your own values and needs? This is the approach a Stoic would take. Rather than passively waiting for a message or longing for reconciliation, they would seize the chance to enhance their character and gain a clearer insight into their true desires in life and relationships. Ultimately, by ceasing to chase after others, you reclaim your happiness and no longer depend on someone else for it. You take back your own strength, which is a key lesson of Stoicism, achieving peace and satisfaction not through external approval, but through a steadfast dedication to our principles. As she contemplates the situation, your attention should be directed towards your personal growth, the insights you've gained, and how to implement those lessons in the future. This approach leads to genuine inner tranquility and self-worth, independent of her decision to return or not. Thirdly, testing boundaries can manifest in different ways. She might send an unexpected casual text or share a post on social media designed to grab your attention. Additionally, she could create scenarios to observe your reaction or to see if you revert to the previous dynamic of pursuing her. This behavior is not always intended to be harmful. Rather, it often serves as a means to assess your position or to determine if she still has influence over your focus. During these instances, many men tend to respond emotionally, which can be a misstep. A wave of fear washes over them. They are afraid of permanently losing her, worried that she is moving on, or concerned that their silence has had negative consequences. Driven by this fear, they respond swiftly to her message or fall for the trap she has set, pursuing her once more. However, it's important to recognize that such actions stem from insecurity rather than strength. This is where the principles of Stoicism become crucial. A Stoic individual recognizes that true strength originates from within himself. He is anchored in his values and remains unaffected by the unpredictable nature of others. When a woman challenges your limits after you've ceased pursuing her, she is probably trying to determine if she can still sway your actions. However, a Stoic man remains resolute. He understands that the only things he can control are his own actions, feelings, and thoughts. You might opt to reply, but your reply is composed, thoughtful, and not motivated by a desire to satisfy or impress her. Alternatively, you may choose not to respond at all, understanding that participating in that moment does not benefit you. In either case, your response or the absence of one stems from a position of inner strength rather than emotional impulsiveness. It's easy to falter in this situation, as we are often led to believe that seeking her attention will ultimately win her affection. However, what frequently occurs is that in the relentless pursuit of validation, one can diminish their own self-respect and sense of empowerment. A Stoic individual understands that seeking approval from others, including an attractive woman, is unnecessary. His value is not contingent upon her attention or affection. It is derived from within himself. By standing resolutely and upholding your boundaries, you convey a strong message. You demonstrate to her, and more crucially to yourself, that your self-worth is not reliant on her responses or endorsement. Consider it this way. By choosing not to respond to every challenge or provocation, you showcase emotional resilience and self-assurance. Women, like all individuals, are attracted to strength, not the type that seeks to dominate others, but the kind that stems from self-mastery. A Stoic recognizes that life will consistently offer obstacles and trials, whether from individuals or situations. The aim is not to evade these challenges, but to address them with insight and calmness. When a woman tests your boundaries, she is often unconsciously assessing your level of self-assurance. An emotional reaction may signal to her that you lack confidence and are looking for her approval. Conversely, if you remain calm and adhere to your principles, you demonstrate self-control. This approach is not about engaging in games or manipulation. Rather, it reflects authenticity and confidence in your identity. You are not disregarding her to provoke her pursuit. Rather, you are focusing on your own mental well-being and self-worth. Ultimately, a Stoic individual understands that genuine strength originates from within. There is no need to chase, respond impulsively, or seek validation from others. When a woman challenges your limits, view it as a chance to showcase your resilience, not through games or manipulation, but by remaining steadfast in your principles. This illustrates that you do not require her validation or approval to feel complete. You are whole by yourself, and that inner strength creates a significant impact. As we conclude this idea, take a moment to consider how you have reacted to similar situations in your life. Have you ever sought validation, or have you managed to remain steadfast in your principles? Keep in mind that growth stems from self-awareness, so embrace the opportunity to recognize any past missteps. This is an essential aspect of your journey. I invite you to share your perspective on this topic. Please leave a comment detailing your experiences. If this message resonates with you, you can also express it by saying, "I control my actions, not hers." Let's keep the dialogue going as we transition to the next insight. Number 4, pursuing closure. Have you ever observed how the dynamics change when you cease communication with a woman? One minute she appears apathetic, and the next, she is actively seeking explanations, posing questions, and attempting to understand what went awry. This phenomenon is known as pursuing closure. It is a frequent response when you withdraw your attention from someone who previously held it. However, there's an interesting twist. Do you truly owe her an explanation? Consider this situation. You were exchanging messages regularly and possibly went on a few dates, but you sensed that the relationship was stagnating. Perhaps her vibe didn't align with yours, or you just felt something was amiss. Rather than persisting in the pursuit, you decided to withdraw. After a few days, she begins to contact you, seeking answers. Why did you cease communication? Was there an incident? At this point, many individuals experience the urge to justify their actions. However, this is where adopting a Stoic perspective can be beneficial. You are not obligated to provide an explanation that disrupts your tranquility. Consider it from this angle. Your peace of mind and mental clarity are within your control. If offering her closure entails revisiting a situation that will only deplete your energy, it may not be worthwhile. Stoicism emphasizes that we can manage our own reactions rather than being swayed by the expectations of others. A woman may look for closure, but ultimately you control the extent to which you share your thoughts, feelings, and time. As Marcus Aurelius stated, your influence is over your mind, not external circumstances. Acknowledge this, and you will discover your inner strength. In this scenario, her pursuit of closure represents the external factor, while your true power resides in your response. Will you participate in a discussion that might reignite past pain or draw you back into a situation you've already moved past? Is silence your form of closure? Ultimately, the pursuit of closure is a common response, yet it's essential to recognize that it doesn't always necessitate a dialogue. At times, the most composed approach is to embrace silence, preserve your inner peace, and let the unresolved questions serve as your closure. This approach isn't about being unfeeling or detached. It's about safeguarding your well-being by choosing not to respond to every emotional pull. You have the power to maintain your peace. Let that be your guiding principle. Number 5, emotional reactions. Picture this. You've ceased pursuing her, no longer starting conversations, sending texts, or making calls. The attention she once received from you has diminished, and an emotional change starts to unfold. You may observe her reacting with anger, sadness, or even a sense of relief. These emotional responses are a natural aspect of being human. However, as someone who practices Stoicism, you can choose not to allow her feelings to control your actions or disturb your inner peace. Let's explore how Stoic philosophy can assist you in navigating this situation. The Stoics remind us that emotions, though powerful, are fleeting. They resemble the weather, occasionally turbulent, at times serene, but perpetually shifting. Her feelings of anger, sadness, or relief should not prompt an immediate reaction. They reflect her individual response to a shift in circumstances. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, you have control over your thoughts, not the external events around you. Understand this, and you will discover your inner strength. If she responds with anger when you cease communication, perhaps sending you irritated messages or expressing her frustrations to her friends, it can be tempting to get swept up in the chaos. You might feel compelled to justify your actions or respond defensively. However, the Stoic perspective encourages you to stay composed and centered. Acknowledge that her anger is her own to manage, not your responsibility to resolve. You are not obligated to bear her emotional burdens. As Epictetus wisely stated, what truly matters is not the events that occur, but your response to them. If she expresses her sorrow and communicates how much she longs for your attention, it may evoke a desire within you to offer her comfort. However, Stoicism reminds us of the value of inner resilience and emotional discipline. While her feelings are legitimate, it is ultimately her path to manage. You don't need to intervene or attempt to resolve her feelings or fill the emptiness she is experiencing. Allowing her to process that emotion on her own is perfectly acceptable, and you can do so without becoming entangled in it yourself. Additionally, she may find a sense of relief. Perhaps she was already distancing herself, and your choice to stop pursuing her coincides with her desires. This realization can be unexpected and potentially painful. However, this is where Stoicism provides a crucial perspective. You cannot dictate her response, but you can control your interpretation and reaction to it. If her sense of relief suggests she is better off without you, it clearly reflects the current state of your relationship, signaling that it may be time to gracefully move on. Central to Stoicism is the principle of recognizing what is within your control and what is not. You cannot dictate her feelings in response to your decision to cease communication. Her emotions belong solely to her. However, you do have the power to determine your own reaction to the circumstances. Do you allow her feelings to draw you back into the same pattern, or do you maintain resolve, prioritizing your peace of mind? The next time you cease pursuing her and she responds with strong emotions, be it anger, sadness, or relief, recall the lesson of Stoicism. Emotions are temporary, but your inner tranquility can remain constant. Concentrate on what you can influence, release what you cannot, and most importantly, safeguard your peace. As you contemplate these emotional reactions, it's crucial to pause and evaluate how frequently we permit the emotions of others to govern our own. This is a crucial aspect where Stoicism can offer significant support. When you cease pursuing and her emotions change, the focus shifts from her feelings to your response. Before we proceed to the next subject, I invite you to take a moment to consider your own past experiences. How have you responded to emotional fluctuations previously? Have you remained composed, or have you been swept up in the emotional turmoil? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspectives are valuable. By sharing your insights, you enhance your comprehension while also fostering a community of individuals who share your commitment to personal development. Let's embark on this journey together. Now, let's discuss the sixth point. Assessing your value. A significant shift occurs when you cease pursuing her or engaging in conversation. At this point, she starts to assess your worth. This is a critical moment where many men find themselves overthinking, engaging in a whirlwind of thoughts such as, is she still interested? Does she recognize my worth? What are her thoughts about me now that I've taken a step back? It's common to have these questions, but many men make a mistake here. They allow her perspective to influence their self-esteem. However, the reality is that your value is not determined by the opinions of others, neither hers nor anyone else's. This is precisely where Stoicism offers us profound insights. Stoic philosophy highlights that your self-worth and value originate from within. It is based on your character, your actions, and your adherence to your principles. Your sense of identity is not determined by her reactions, her opinions, or whether she returns to you. It is fundamentally about your own essence, independent of her approval. Consider it this way. When you cease pursuing her, it creates a change in dynamics. She starts to reflect on the relationship, contemplate your significance, and assess the impact you have had in her life. She might contemplate the stability you provided and how you remained unaffected by external factors. However, during this reflection, it is essential for you to remain anchored in your own self-worth, rather than relying on her to determine it. The more you seek validation from external sources, be it her messages, compliments, or attention, the more you distance yourself from genuine internal strength. Stoicism encourages us to stay unaffected by external judgments and to concentrate on what we can truly control: our actions, mindset, and values. For instance, if you've ceased communication with her and there is now silence, she is probably reflecting on your character and the contributions you made. She might be contemplating your steadiness and the calm demeanor you consistently maintained, even in challenging situations. Perhaps she is beginning to understand that you remain unshaken by minor issues, which highlights a unique strength in you. However, during her contemplation, you are not idly waiting for her to decide what to do next. Instead, you are concentrating on your own growth. You are taking this opportunity to reflect and ensure that you are meeting your own expectations, as that is where your true value lies. Here's the twist. When you cease pursuing her, it allows her the opportunity to reflect. She may begin to miss your company, the way you gracefully navigated difficulties, or how you maintained emotional control. In that moment, she is reassessing her feelings. However, her decision on whether to pursue you again does not determine your worth. Your value is not something she can grant or revoke. This is what gives Stoicism its strength in challenging times. It encourages you to remain steadfast in your principles and not to be influenced by others' opinions of you. Picture the situation. You've taken a step back and ceased your efforts, leaving her to reflect on things. She is assessing you, perhaps coming to the realization that you are not someone who can be easily affected by emotions or the fluctuations of circumstances. That is appealing. Why? Because confidence that stems from your values and self-worth is captivating. It demonstrates that you don't rely on others' approval to feel positive about yourself. This is why, when you cease pursuing her, it doesn't signify a downfall. On the contrary, it represents a moment of strength. You are illustrating that you are comfortable with your identity and that you don't require outside validation to recognize your worth. Your value is already defined. It lies in your self-management, the way you treat those around you, and your adherence to your values. This is the essence of Stoicism. It emphasizes self-reliance and the realization that the only validation you genuinely require is from yourself. Therefore, when you encounter such situations, whether with her or anyone else, keep in mind that your worth is inherent. The focus should not be on her response to your messages, her perception of your worth, or her renewed interest. What truly matters is your understanding of your own value and your commitment to embodying it daily. When you achieve this, her potential return becomes less significant. You will be anchored in a deeper sense of self, rooted in your character and dedication to your principles, much like the teachings of the Stoics. Number 7, making contact once more. Picture this. You've ceased your pursuit. No more late-night messages, no more attempts to arrange meetings, no more outreach. Just silence. Then, after a while, she initiates contact. This could stem from curiosity, a longing for the attention she once received, or perhaps she's pondering why you've distanced yourself. However, the question remains. How do you respond when she reaches out again? Do you quickly return, excited to pick up from where you paused, or do you pause to contemplate? This is the essence of Stoicism. Stoicism encourages us to refrain from impulsive or emotional reactions, advocating for responses grounded in intention and logic. When she reaches out, resist the urge to let your initial emotions dictate your actions. While feelings of excitement or hope for a revival may arise, Stoicism emphasizes an important truth. You hold the power over your responses, not her. Rather than rushing to respond immediately or allowing her message to unsettle you, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Consider the underlying motivations behind her message and, crucially, how you wish to reply. A composed individual acts with intention. Your goal is not to seek approval from her or to reclaim something that has slipped away. Instead, you are striving for clarity in your own actions and intentions. Consider a scenario where she reaches out with a simple message, such as, "Hey, it's been a while. How have you been?" In the past, you might have interpreted this as a chance to reconnect and revive the conversations you've missed. However, with Stoic principles influencing your approach now, you reply in a composed manner, free from any sense of urgency. A response like, "I'm doing well, thank you. I hope you are too," is short, respectful, and measured. By resisting the temptation to be influenced by emotions or the desire to revive a previous relationship, you preserve your dignity and self-worth. Stoicism encourages us to concentrate on what is within our control, our reactions, thoughts, and actions. While you cannot dictate her reasons for reaching out or her expectations from the interaction, you can determine your response. This response should consistently showcase your inner strength, rather than any residual attachment or craving for her validation. When you cease the pursuit, the interaction shifts. Women frequently become aware when the attention diminishes, and many may initiate contact to test if they still have the same influence over you. However, by embracing Stoic principles, you step away from that cycle. Your responses come from a foundation of self-respect and emotional stability, rather than a desire for external approval. Therefore, when she reaches out next, approach the situation with logic rather than emotion. Maintain your tranquility and sense of control. Your fulfillment does not depend on her. You possess all the resources you require within yourself. This encapsulates the essence of Stoicism in relationships. You remain unaffected by temporary emotions and are not led by whims. Instead, you are stable, calm, and consistently in command of your reactions. Number 8. Progressing ahead. Picture this scenario. You've ceased messaging her and stopped pursuing her. Initially, you may feel a sense of uncertainty or even skepticism. What will unfold now? Will she take notice? Will she be concerned? However, the reality is this. The next steps she takes are not the focus. The true change starts within you, and this is where Stoicism becomes relevant. By ceasing the pursuit of external validation, you allow yourself the opportunity to take charge of your emotions. You are no longer motivated by the desire for approval or recognition. Rather, your attention shifts to more profound aspects: your self-respect, your core values, and your emotional resilience. Believe me, this is the type of confidence that emanates from within. Stoicism reminds us that true happiness is not derived from external factors such as her responses, her focus, or her approval, but rather from our own inner tranquility. Now, let's consider her potential reactions when you cease pursuing her. She might initiate contact, understanding that your absence carries significance. Alternatively, she may choose not to reach out at all. She may begin to reflect on the situation, ponder the reasons behind your withdrawal, and perhaps attempt to regain your attention. Women possess a natural intuition, and a decrease in your engagement can spark their curiosity. However, the crucial point is this: her actions or inactions are not what is significant. What truly counts is that you have detached yourself from the outcome. You are no longer fixated on whether she responds to your messages or expresses interest. You are progressing, and this journey extends beyond simply moving past her. It involves releasing the dependence on external approval. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot dictate the actions or feelings of others. However, we do have authority over our own thoughts and responses. By ceasing to pursue, you are not surrendering your feelings for her. Rather, you are relinquishing the desire to dictate the result. You are accepting that it doesn't matter if she contacts you or not. You are content regardless, as your value is not contingent upon her reaction. Consider this scenario. You choose to cease messaging her after recognizing that you have been the one sustaining the dialogue. As days pass, an initial quietness ensues. You question whether she has observed your absence, but soon you begin to perceive a different sensation. You feel a sense of relief. You no longer find yourself frequently checking your phone. The anxiety of awaiting a reply has diminished, and you are no longer preoccupied with analyzing every action you take. You have redirected your attention towards your own life and aspirations. Whether she replies to your message or not is no longer a concern for you. Regardless of the outcome, you remain untroubled. You have discovered tranquility in the unknown, which exemplifies the essence of Stoicism. By releasing your attachment to her, you are allowing yourself the liberty to fully embrace the present. You are no longer burdened by uncertainties or the pressure for outcomes to unfold in a specific manner. Instead, you are embracing a life that reflects your core values, which is the foundation of genuine confidence and self-respect. Ultimately, whether you choose to reconnect or not is of lesser importance. What truly counts is the invaluable emotional resilience you have developed. You have discovered that true dignity arises from living in harmony with your values, rather than seeking validation from others. As we conclude today's conversation, let's reflect on a question that frequently confounds many individuals. What occurs when you choose to cease communication with a woman? The responses can be diverse and intricate. However, what is most significant is not merely the reaction you receive, but rather how you decide to navigate the situation. Integrating Stoic principles into your reactions, exercising emotional control, engaging in meaningful self-reflection, and recognizing your inherent worth can help you navigate difficult interactions with grace and respect. It is important to understand that genuine confidence does not stem from dominating others. Instead, it arises from the ability to manage your own emotions and behaviors. This mastery of self is fundamental to Stoicism and is vital for upholding dignity and respect in all your relationships. If you appreciated the insights presented in today's video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to stay informed about similar content. Your support is vital for our growth and enables us to provide you with more meaningful discussions and advice. Thank you for tuning in. Remain resilient, embrace the Stoic philosophy,